Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're exploring the enduring appeal of The Sims.
That's a fascinating one.
It really is. And this deep dive was actually requested by Shawnee from South Africa.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, and Shawnee mentioned specifically loving to add mods to their game, so we'll definitely be getting into that.
Perfect topic for it.
Absolutely. And just so you know, this deep dive is produced by Misha St. Ors, who's an Adobe creator.
Great stuff.
So, welcome along to Season 3, Episode 32. We're going to be digging into why The Sims has stuck around for, what, over 20 years now?
More than that, yeah. It's incredible.
We're drawing on some articles by Misha St. Ors and also checking out the official EA website.
Good sources.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
And the goal is really to understand its grip on players, especially for someone like you, Shawnee, who really gets into customizing with mods. We want to unpack what makes it so captivating.
And why that modding community is just so essential now.
Exactly. Okay, so The Sims, where did it even start? The very beginning.
Well, the original concept came from Will Wright. And his idea back then was for a kind of virtual dollhouse.
The dollhouse?
Yeah, but specifically like for adults. That was the pitch. It launched way back in February 2000.
Wow, okay. So not your typical game back then, right?
Yeah.
No epic quests or anything.
Well, exactly the opposite. It was all about the mundane, everyday life, getting a job, paying bills, relationships.
Which sounds almost boring on paper.
Maybe, but the revolutionary part was how it let stories just sort of happen, this emergent storytelling idea. You weren't following a script, you were just seeing what unfolded.
And people loved it.
Oh, immediately.
Yeah.
Huge success. Became one of the best-selling PC games ever pretty quickly.
So what was the hook then? If it wasn't a big quest?
I think it really tapped into something fundamental. Everyone understands daily life, right? Relationships, goals, needs. The Sims gave you the space to, play with all that.
Control it, maybe.
Control it,
Okay.
experiment with it,
Yeah.
in a way other games just weren't doing.
Okay, so let's break down that core experience. There's Create a Sim, CAS.
Right, where you make your Sims. And the customization there is, well, it's deep. Appearance, personality, what they want out of life, their aspirations.
You can really lose hours in CAS, can't you?
Oh, easily. And that level of creation, it gets you invested, You made the Sim, so you care more about what happens to them.
Makes sense. And then there's the building side. Build mode, buy mode.
Yeah, the architect and interior designer part. Again, incredibly robust tools. You can build pretty much anything from a tiny shack to a ridiculous mansion.
And fill it with all sorts of stuff. That's almost a whole separate game for some players.
It really is. It taps into that creative urge to design and personalize your space, making things look just right.
And then the main event, I suppose. Live mode.
Live mode, yeah, where you actually manage their lives, sending them to work, making sure they eat, sleep, socialize, fulfilling their needs.
But it's not always straightforward, is it? Things go wrong.
Oh, yeah. That's the magic, the unpredictability. Sims have their own little minds. Things happen. Kitchen fires, weird townies, unexpected romances.
Alien abductions.
Alien abductions, yes. That tension between what you want them to do and what actually happens, that's what keeps you coming back. That's where the stories come from.
So the game didn't just stay like that original version, obviously. It evolved. Sims 2 in 2004 sounds like a big leap.
Huge leap. Visually, it went full 3D, which was a massive difference. But gameplay-wise, the really big things were genetics.
Genetics, like Sim kids look like their parents.
Exactly. And inherited traits. Plus, they introduced a full lifespan. Babies, toddlers, kids, teens, adults, elders. And aspirations became deeper with fears, too.
Wow, okay. That sounds like it added a whole layer of connection watching families grow over generations.
It really did. You got much more emotionally invested in these little digital families.
Then came The Sims 3 in 2009. What was the big change there?
The open world. That was the headline feature. No more loading screens between lots in the neighborhood. You could just zoom out, click somewhere else, and your Sim would just walk or bike over.
That must have felt incredibly freeing.
It was amazing for immersion. Suddenly the whole town felt alive. They also added wishes, which were like smaller moment-to-moment roles for your Sims, and the personality system got even more detailed.
Leading to, I guess, even more crazy stories and creativity from players.
Trade in your boring job for a brilliant career using Adobe Creative Cloud. Start learning now with the free trial link in the description.
Absolutely. The Sims 3 era saw a huge explosion in community content and storytelling, partly because of that open world freedom.
And that brings us to the current main entry, The Sims 4 from 2014, which didn't have the smoothest launch.
No, it had a bit of a mixed reaction initially. Some features from Sims 3, like the full open world and toddlers at launch, were missing. But its big focus was on sim emotions.
Right, making Sims feel more expressive,
Yeah.
nuanced.
Exactly. Their emotional state really impacts their actions and interactions in a more visible way. And the build mode was streamlined, made a bit more intuitive, which a lot of people liked.
And it's obviously grown massively since 2014 with all the patches.
Oh, continuously expansion packs, game packs, stuff packs, covering everything from, magic and vampires to eco-living and high school. It's really carved out its own identity over time.
So looking back across all of them,
Mm.
what's the secret sauce? Why does it last?
I think fundamentally it connects with some really basic human desires. We like to create things, we like to feel a sense of control maybe, and we're natural storytellers.
And The Sims is just this perfect sandbox for all of that.
An unparalleled sandbox, really. It lets you play with life, basically.
It's funny, it's like this weird mirror to our own lives sometimes, isn't it? But sillier and maybe easier to manage.
Yeah, exaggerated and distilled, maybe. It's relatable, the routines, the jobs, the relationships, but then you get these totally bizarre moments thrown in.
Like chatting up the Grim Reaper.
Exactly. That mix of the mundane and the utterly strange. It's escapism for sure, but it also makes you reflect a little bit sometimes watching these little Sims struggle with things.
And circling back to Shanae's interest, the community and the modding scene, that has to be a huge part of why it's still so vibrant, especially for Sims 4.
Oh, absolutely vital. You can't really talk about The Sims 4's longevity without talking about mods and custom content, or CC. The players themselves are constantly adding to and changing the game.
So there are two main types, right? Custom content and script mods.
Broadly, yeah. Custom content, or CC, is mostly aesthetic stuff. New clothes, hair, furniture, makeup. Things to make your Sims and houses look unique.
Stuff you download and just shows up in Create a Sim or Build mode.
Right. Then you have script mods, which are more complex. They actually change the gameplay. They add new interactions, new systems, tweak how the game fundamentally works.
And some of these script mods are almost seen as essential by a lot of players, aren't they? Like MC Command Center, MCCC.
MCCC by Deadpool, yeah. It's incredibly popular because it gives you so much control over the game's story progression for the non-played Sims, the NPCs. You can manage population, careers, relationships, pregnancies, tons of stuff. It makes the town feel more alive.
Keeps things interesting even when you're not controlling everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then there are quality of life mods, like UI Cheats Extension by Weirbasu.
What does that do?
It basically lets you click directly on the user interface, like the needs bars or money, to cheat them instead of typing in cheat codes. Just makes things quicker and easier if you like to play that way.
Handy. And what about mods that add more depth to, like, relationships?
Well, there's Wonderful Whims by Turbo Driver, which adds a more complex attraction system, personality archetypes, relationship dynamics. It aims for more realism in how Sims connect. There's also a more explicit version called Wicked Whims by the same creator.
So it's options for different playstyles there.
Definitely. And then you get mods like Slice of Life by Kawaii Stasi.
Slice of life. What does that add?
Oh, lots of little realistic touches, like Sims might get acne, there are more nuanced emotions, a memory system, just small things that add up to make the Sims feel a bit more human, maybe.
Trade in your boring job for a brilliant career using Adobe Creative Cloud. Start learning now with the free trial link in the description.
And for the builders, any key mods?
Oh, yeah. The Tool mod by Twisted Mexi is huge. It stands for Takes Objects Off Lot. It essentially lets you move and manipulate objects almost anywhere far beyond the normal grid limitations. It allows for incredible creativity in building.
Right, for those super detailed builds you see online.
Exactly. And for people who download tons of custom content, more columns in CAS by Weirbasu is a lifesaver. It just gives you more columns of items in Create a Sim so you're not scrolling forever.
Simple but effective. And even things like height sliders.
Yeah, adding height variety. It all comes down to personalization, doesn't it? People use mods to add realism, increase customization, introduce gameplay they wish was in the base game, fix annoyances.
Or just fill gaps they perceive in the official content.
Precisely. It's players taking ownership and tailoring the experience exactly how they want it. Which, you have to be a bit careful. Download from trusted places, keep things updated.
Sure, the technical side.
Yeah.
But it shows this incredible passion. The Sims isn't just a game at this point, is it? It feels bigger.
It's definitely a cultural phenomenon. I mean, it's been used in schools, studied by sociologists, and the community aspect is massive. People sharing their Sims, their houses, their stories.
Like through the official gallery feature on the EA site.
Exactly. You can download creations from players all over the world right into your game. Plus, it's on PC, consoles, mobile. It reaches a huge audience.
And EA keeps it fresh with updates and those smaller kits they release now, too, like Restoration Workshop, Golden Years, Kitchen Clutter.
Yeah, those smaller packs offer more focused sets of items or gameplay. It all contributes to keeping the game alive and evolving alongside that massive community creativity.
It really is quite something, a testament to, well, simulation, creativity, our fascination with just watching people, even digital ones.
It captures something about the human or sim experience, yeah.
So for you, Shanae, listening in South Africa, enjoying those mods, you're tapping into this huge creative ecosystem that really lets you make The Sims your own. The possibilities feel pretty endless.
They really do. The combination of official content and the modding community means you can tailor that world in countless ways.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.
And that's a wrap on this deep dive. I'm Misha, and let me send out a huge thank you for listening. If you want more content on gaming, education, or other fun stuff, head over and find me on YouTube. Link is in the show notes. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next deep dive.